Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? This your girl Tiffany here, live in the Fed. And tonight, I just decided that I want to come on here to talk about the incident that happened in Utah with Charlie Kirk and the whole Messiah complex. Now, we're going to get into it. The death of Charlie Kirk took place in Utah on September the 12th of 2025 while he was debating. This is an unfortunate event that took place. However, this man is known for his harsh criticism and disrespect towards black people. What's very ironic to me is that these same black people will get on social media and say, my prayers go out to him and his family, or criticize other black people for feeling some kind of way about him. Black people will show more compassion to white people than they do to their own. Also, being left or right ain't going to save us. And let me tell you why. I hear folks all the time say, well, we need to be left. We need to be this. That's not going to save us. And let me get into the Messiah complex. For those of you that don't know what a Messiah complex means, it's basically mean that you idolizing or looking up someone to as a god or deify them beyond their humanity, right? Or you see someone as being more superior than you. So black people, we have this Messiah complex because subconsciously speaking, we see white people as being more superior to us. And we operate from a state of inferiority. Now, this white man got away with saying a lot of shit about black folks. This white man done got away with saying a lot of shit about black folks. He done threw black people under the bus. He done threw black women under the bus. Now, this is so interesting. Y'all sit up here and say, may this man rest in peace. And y'all want to sit up here and talk about how other black people should not go around feeling some kind of way. I'm sorry, but I can't say rest in peace to somebody that don't have any respect for my race. I cannot say rest in peace. I'm not going to cheer for his death, but I am not going to moan either. It is what it is. And then you even got your so-called blacks, Democrats, that's giving criticism to other black folks. Well, a person have a right to speak how they want to. A person have a right to speak this way. They shouldn't be killed for their beliefs and opinions. And I agree. I agree that people should not lose their lives for their beliefs and their opinion about something because they have the right to say what they want. However, if we want to get technical about it, over the years, over the years, over centuries, thousands and thousands of years, people have lost their lives for having a belief, for having an opinion. Okay? So he's not the first man to get shot because he done said something that was offensive. Okay? There was a lot of them. And to be honest with you, you can never stop people from having their own views about anything. People are going to think how they want to. They're going to see life how they want to. They're going to be vocal about it. Now, what happened to this man was unfortunate. Okay? Because it happened in front of thousands of people. But again, it ain't the first time somebody done lost their lives for speaking on whatever they believe in. Or for having certain type of views. That's not the first time. And certain people were surprised that it happened to be a white man, a white person that shot this man, that killed this man in front of everybody. Folks were surprised. And then it got to a point that the HBCUs had to shut down for 24 hours because they was getting threats. But see, it's not as surprising because black people gonna get blamed for some shit. It's no different than how our ancestors, right? Especially our male ancestors during the time of Jim Crow segregation, they was getting blamed for whatever happened to the white girl. If the white girl says, oh, this man touched me, he violated me, he did X, Y, and Z, then he was guilty without investigation. And then that when the whole entire black people in the community had to get away from the area because of some white person saying that this person did it. But again, black people, we have this subconscious way of looking at certain group of people as being more dominant than us. That happened to be a white person, but we will critique and throw our own people under the bus. You got black people that have no problem throwing black immigrants, black Caribbeans, or anybody who have families that come from another country that was born here in America. They don't have no problem throwing them under the bus. They don't have no problem, throwing shades at them. But when it comes to this white person, right? You see many black people say, oh, rest in peace. I heard about somebody the other day, and I ain't gonna call this person's name out, but I heard that this person made a video being all sympathetic and damn near about to shed a tear over this man's death. A black man. Hey, peace. I appreciate you for coming by. Thank you. But yeah, somebody made a video crying about this man, moaning his death. This happened to be a black man. So you moaning a death for somebody that don't really like you? That don't really give a damn about you? And have his own political views towards you? If that's not a definition of coonery, then I don't know what to tell you. Let me read these comments. Oh yeah, that's another thing, black on black crime. Now let me tell you my views about that, brother Kevin, since we on the subject about black on black crimes. I mean, it does exist. Let's be honest. It does. But people use that narrative as a way to bring antagonism, right? But it does exist. I mean, we have to be honest. But why does it take place? We can look at it two ways. Two ways. Either it's the system blame. It could be the system blame and the person blame. So we can look at it two ways: system blame, person blame. I would say about 45% of the shit that happens in our community as far as black on black violence is concerned, that is person blame. And 55% of it is system blame. 55% of it is systemic. 45% of it is personal. Okay? But we do have to talk about it. We have to talk about it because it destroys families. It destroys community. But yeah, people can get away with saying a lot of narrative about black on black, but they don't talk about white on white. And there has been a lot of white on white violence. If you guys go into the history about gangs in America, I'm talking about white gangs, white organization. There was a lot of white on white violence. But black people, we happen to be the face, the center of violence in America. That's what's going on. Oh yeah. See, the whole thing about freedom of speech, we have to ask, do you really have freedom of speech? Do you have the right to really say what you really want to say? And who can get away with saying whatever? Certain people can get away with saying whatever. Like Charleston White. Charleston White puts on a character. He's a troll, okay? He trolls people. That's what he does. He get away with saying a whole lot of stuff and nobody touched him. Nobody even tried to make an attempt on his life. Nobody has made an attempt on his life. So again, who can get away with saying certain stuff? And how can't you get away with saying it? When you go to your job, you can't say whatever you want to on your job. You know what I'm saying? There's boundaries that you cannot cross. If you joking with a manager, if you joking with a supervisor or a lead or anybody that may be in a higher position, there are certain boundaries that you cannot cross. Because if you cross those boundaries and you say anything that's considered as highly offensive, as far as discrimination is concerned, you'll lose your job. So on your job, you don't really have freedom of speech. And it depends on who you interact with and how you have that bond and relationship with that person. Do you have a good relationship with your manager to where you can say what you want to them, express how you want to feel? Do you have a relationship with your operational manager? Do you have a good relationship with them? So not everybody can get away with saying what they want to say. You got people who are very sensitive and that's looking for the opportunity, looking for a very opportunity to go ahead and either get you terminated or not even that, try to get rid of you. So I would say freedom of speech is limited. Freedom of speech is limited. Even when you're on social media, have you noticed that people change up the words they say? They use terms like unaliving. They use words like grape. They'll say words like pew pew. They're changing up words only because their freedom of speech is limited and they don't want to get banned or they don't want to lose any money because of what they're saying on social media. Then you got certain people that don't care. They're going to say whatever. See, folks need to be mindful of the media industrial complex. That same media industrial complex sensationalized black community criminality. Oh, yes. Yes, I agree. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It does. Going back to the previous video I done about street culture, right? Social media have destroyed a lot of people's street credibility because once everything get posted on social media, that's a done deal. Hell, you can find news on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram before you even see it on the actual news channel. Somebody's going to broadcast information on social media. Hell, you can find it on YouTube. Someone is broadcasting information. That's just how it is. And that's what happens when you have a social media page. Once your business get out there to the world, it's going to stay out there. So I would say social media has caused a lot of detriment to people's lives. Social media have caused people to lose street credibility. Mhm. So there are pros and cons to it. I will look into it. But yeah, some many black people have this inferiority complex. They have this messiah complex to where they believe like subconsciously the European is their God figure. The European is superior. And then you got some black people that kind of tiptoe around things, but don't have no problem speaking on their own community like it ain't nothing, throwing their own people under the bus. But when it comes to other folks, they'll tiptoe around them. They'll tiptoe around the situation. They'll just kind of like, that's what they're doing. People like to tiptoe. Kevin, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so it's a it's really a messed up situation. Let me talk about that video for a moment. I watched that video like maybe 4 or 5 times. No, I watched it like maybe 8 times. Multiple times. I watched it over and over and over again. I had a blank expression. I couldn't say anything about it. I was just like, damn. I mean, the person shot 20 feet away and that bullet struck him in the neck. And once that bullet hits your neck, it gets in your veins. That's it. That's a done deal. Once you get hit in the neck, that's a done deal. He was out. So And he was in the middle of talking about gang violence. And as soon as he said something about gangs, that's when that bullet struck him right there in his neck. He went out cold turkey. That's what he did. He went out cold turkey. You know, before I close it out, I really want to say something. Humans do not value human rights or life the way that we say. Human in general do not value human rights or human life because we can become a walking contradiction. We can become a walking contradiction saying one thing, then it's something totally different. We're not always consistent with our thoughts. So humans do not always value life. Uh, and that's the red pill alert. So this is a lesson that we have to be mindful of humans in general, regardless what race, what background. We have to be mindful of humans' behaviors, and we have to pay attention to how people think. You have to pay attention to people's action. Of course, they're not going to talk about black on black bigotry. They're not. It's a growing number of black people that have a lot of self-hatred. So the black on black bigotry is a result of self-hatred. And some of them feel that way because of how they grew up, what type of environment they came from. That plays a lot into certain people's mentality of why they view their own people less than or less valuable to them. So it has a lot to do with your upbringing, unfortunately. So if you have somebody that grew up in a traumatic household or a traumatic environment where they witnessed so much crime happening, they seen a lot of negative things more than they ever seen positive, that's going to change their outlook on life. That's going to change their views about humanity. That's going to make them see their own people differently. And then you got those who see their people as enemies. Hell, you got people who see their own family as enemies. So that's the other side that we have to look at as well. What will make somebody become a bigot or, create this bigotry ideology, thoughts, or whatever? It has to have something to do with your experience. So experience is one thing, and just being biased is another thing. Let me see. And his revisionist history on MLK and the civil rights movement was just typical of his bigotry. You know, I can get into my whole thought about the civil rights movement. I mean, Dr. King meant well. He really did. But the question is, what group of black people benefited from the civil rights? Who reaped the benefits from it? That's something that we have to start thinking about. Who reaped the benefits? Because those who reap the benefit of the civil rights, they have this classism mentality. They have this classism mentality to where they want to be the face of everybody, and they tend to look down on other black people in the inner city community as being less than, or as being, or pretty much dehumanizing them, not recognizing their humanity, but use them when it's convenient for them. Again, those black people in the inner city community get discriminated the most and become dehumanized by other black folks that's in this middle class or upper class community, and they only use the poor black people when it is convenient for them. That's one of my favorite book. That's one of my favorite book. That's one of my personal favorites book. Carter G. Woodson. Yep. The Miseducation of the Negro. One of my favorites. As a matter of fact, I got that book over there. You about to make me go get the book right now. Yeah, hold up. Yep. One of my personal favorites of all time. The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. This gonna always be my favorite book. As a matter of fact, I ain't read this book in a minute. I haven't read this book in a minute. Then here's another one that he has written. I think this came after he wrote The Miseducation of the Negro. It's called The Education of the Negro. So I'm gonna start sharing more of Carter G. Woodson stuff, because I I don't think a lot of people really catch on to the things that he was talking about. People like him were very, what I like to call, the Black Enlightenment thinkers. People like Carter G. Woodson, Dr. Amy Wilson, W.E.B. Du Bois, Franz Fanon, E. Franklin Frazier. I put those people in the category of the Black Enlightenment thinkers, because that's what they were, Black Enlightenment thinkers. And if you guys get a chance to, please check out Dr. Amos Wilson. Check out his work. Check out his lectures. They are, when I tell you they are very inspiring, it will make you more open-minded. It will make you really think. So a lot of the stuff that he was saying makes sense now. So if y'all get a chance to, make sure you check out Dr. Amos Wilson. Dr. Amos Wilson, you got to check him out. Let me see, Dr. Carol Anderson. I'm familiar with her. Yeah, I'm familiar with her. As a matter of fact, I gotta check into some more of her works as well. But yes, I'm familiar with Dr. Carol Anderson. Oh yeah, I like Dr. Greg Carr. Hmm. Well, that's gonna have to be a topic for another day. Getting to the white enlightened thinkers. Yeah, that's gonna be a topic for another day. So the topic is about the Messiah complex and the death of Charlie Kirk. And you know what's interesting? Utah is a predominantly white state. It is the home of the Mormons. Yes, it's the home of the Mormons. And if you guys know about the Mormons, they are the white supremacy Christians. They are very racist. The Mormons are very racist white Christians. Okay. So Utah is predominantly white. You don't have that many black people living in Utah. If you do, it's probably what less than what 10%, less than 5% of black people that live in Utah. The rest of them they white. Hmm. So as I was explaining earlier, a Messiah complex is basically looking at someone, especially someone from a particular race, as being more superior and then looking at your own race as being inferior. So if you have a Messiah complex, that means you looking up to a particular individual or a group of people as being superior to you. Oh yeah, troll. We all do. But anyways, you guys, so that's all I have for tonight. I'm not gonna be on here very long, but I appreciate you guys tuning in, watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, share my channel. And until next time, peace and power and elevation be to all of you. That's my thoughts and my commentary on this. So if you guys want to send some comments, you can do so at the bottom of the screen. Well, at the bottom of the video, and I'll look through the comments and try to respond as much as I can. But anyways, you all take it easy, be safe. Until next time, peace and power elevation. This your girl Tiffany, and I'm logging off. Right. Okay, my bad. I had to take care of something in the comment section. But anyways, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in, watching. Peace.